Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Pharmacology Made Easy. So we have started with series of lectures on bronchial asthma, and today we are going to learn about important drugs, that is leukotriene modulators. Okay, before starting this video, just please keep watching my videos and please subscribe to the channel. Okay, so let us start with today's topic, that is leukotriene modulators. So we know the leukotrienes, they are the important mediators of inflammation in bronchial asthma, and they are a powerful bronchoconstrictor drug, and that's why they can be responsible for dyspnea or breathlessness in bronchial asthma. So first we will see how the leukotrienes are synthesized, and then we can see that the drugs which can interfere either with synthesis of leukotriene or with their receptors. Okay, so first there are membrane phospholipids on the cell membrane surface of various cells like mast cells, basophils, eosinophils and macrophages. So these membrane phospholipids, they are converted into arachidonic acid with the help of one of the enzyme, that is phospholipase A2. And we have seen in corticosteroid lecture that this enzyme is inhibited by corticosteroids. Okay. Now, this arachidonic acid can be further converted into two pathways or diverted into two pathways. Through the cyclooxygenase enzyme, this arachidonic acid can produce various prostaglandins, which is also one of the important mediator of inflammation. While through one of the enzyme, that is 5-lipooxygenase enzyme, this arachidonic acid is converted into various leukotrienes. Okay, there are various leukotrienes, but out of which the important one in asthma are LTB4, LTC4 and LTD4. LT stands for leukotriene, 4 indicates the double bond in their structure. Now this LTC4 and LTD4, they further act through one of the receptor which are called as a cysteine leukotriene receptors. So arachidonic acid through 5-lipoxygenase enzyme is converted into the leukotrienes. Now we have two targets. One is the 5-lipoxygenase enzyme we can inhibit, or either we can inhibit the cysteine leukotriene receptor. So first drug which inhibit the 5-lipoxygenase enzyme is called as a xyluton. Okay. So xyluton is a drug which inhibits the 5-lipoxygenase enzyme, because of which further synthesis of leukotrienes will not occur, and ultimately the patient may get relief from the bronchoconstriction. Okay. How we can remember this? Xyluton contains the O in its name, while this lipooxygenase enzyme also contains the O in its name. Okay, so xyluton containing O, it also inhibits the 5-lipoxygenase enzyme which inhibits the which contains the O. Now this xyluton unfortunately does not become popular because of mainly two reasons. Okay, so which are these two reasons which restricted its use? One, it has a hepatotoxic potential. Okay, means it has a liver toxicity. Okay, so it can cause liver toxicity, and second, it has a very short duration of action. Short duration of action, that is almost 6 hours. That's why this drug has to be given 4 times daily, that is QID, quarter in diet, in a dose of 600 to 1200 milligram per day. So because of these two reasons, hepatotoxic potential and short duration of action, xyluton is not preferred in the treatment of asthma. Now the second drug which can inhibit the cysteine leukotriene receptors. Before that, we will see there are 4 actions which are mediated through the cysteine leukotriene receptors. Okay, so the leukotrienes, they causes 4 actions through the cysteine leukotriene receptor. First one is bronchoconstriction, which is the important for causing the dyspnea and breathlessness. Second action, this increases airway mucus secretion, and they also increases airway hyperresponsiveness. Third action, this leukotrienes through the cysteine leukotriene receptor LTC4 and LTD4 causes increase in eosinophil recruitment. Increased recruitment of eosinophils. As you know, eosinophils are also one of the important cells in allergy as well as in inflammation in asthma. And fourth thing, they increases the vascular permeability of various airway mucosal blood vessel cells, because of which there is a mucosal edema. Okay. So four things are caused by LTC4 and LTD4 through cysteine leukotriene receptor. Now, if we inhibit these receptors, we can achieve the antagonism of this action or inhibition of action, and that's why the drug called leukotriene receptor antagonist. Okay, antagonist, leukotriene receptor antagonist, and there are four drugs. First one is montelukast. Second one is zapirlukast. The next two, they are not very much popular and not available in US, but they are available in some other countries. They are pranlukast and iralukast. Okay, out of which montelukast and zapirlukast, they are popular in the India. You can easily remember this lukast. So Luke stands for the leukotriene and AT means stand for the antagonist. So leukotriene receptor antagonist. Okay, montelukast and zapirlukast. So this is all about the leukotriene modulator. The first one is a xyluton, which inhibits the 5-lipoxygenase enzyme, but not preferred due to its hepatotoxic potential and short duration of action. While the second, which are very much popular because of antagonizing the cysteine leukotriene receptor of LTC4 and LTD4, okay, montelukast and zapirlukast, because of which they can achieve the exactly opposite of this action. So instead of bronchoconstriction, this drug will produce bronchodilation. Second, they will decreases the airway mucus secretion and also decreases the airway hyper responsiveness. They will decreases the recruitment of eosinophils, so sputum eosinophil count is especially reduced. And second, they decreases the mucosal edema, which can be beneficial in the patient of asthma. Coming to the indications or uses of montelukast and zapirlukast. The first one is they are useful in mild to moderate grade of asthma as an alternative to inhalational corticosteroids, but they are less efficacious as compared to inhalational corticosteroid. So this is more or less the theoretical use, not useful very much practically. Okay. The second use is in moderate to severe asthma, especially when there are the frequent exacerbations, sudden increase in the severity in moderate to severe asthma, and they are useful as a add-on therapy, means they are not useful as a monotherapy or single drug therapy. So when a patient is poorly responding to the high doses of inhalational corticosteroid and LABA, that is salmeterol and formoterol type of drug, long-acting beta-2 agonist, then in such a type of the patient which are poorly responding to this drug, we can try the montelukast and zapirlukast as a third type of the drug, okay, or as a add-on therapy or adjuvant. And it is said that this drug reduces the dosage requirement of inhalational corticosteroid as well as the LABA, but they cannot replace the LABA because their efficacy is less as compared to long-acting beta-2 agonist. The third use of this drug, they have a prophylactic role in exercise induced asthma. Okay, some particular patients after doing heavy exercise may suffer from dyspnea or breathlessness. In such a type of the patients, we can give the montelukast and zapirlukast before starting the exercise, so they can prevent the attack of asthma after the heavy exercise. Next, this drug can be given in aspirin induced asthma. Okay, this is a specific type of the asthma. These type of patients have a hypersensitivity to the aspirin, okay, which is a cyclooxygenase inhibitor, and apart from that, these patients have a atopic dermatitis or allergic disorder and nasal polyposis. What happens when we have given the aspirin? It will inhibit the cyclooxygenase enzyme, and we have seen previously that arachidonic acid, after inhibiting the cyclooxygenase enzyme, will be diverted to produce more and more leukotrienes through the 5-lipoxygenase enzyme pathway. So, in order to prevent the action of leukotriene and in order to prevent the asthma, we can give the montelukast and zapirlukast so that it can inhibit the action of leukotriene by inhibiting the cysteine leukotriene receptors. Okay. Next, which is a very common use nowadays of montelukast and zapirlukast, is allergic rhinitis. Okay. So सर्दी हो जाती है, एलर्जिक सर्दी हम जिसको बोलते हैं. Okay, so these type of the patients have been given the combination of antihistaminics like levocetirizine and montelukast. So this combination is nowadays very much becoming popular. Levocet M, Levocet contain levocetirizine, M is montelukast. So because of anti-allergic action of both of antihistaminics and the anti-leukotriene action of the montelukast, as well as some amount of anti-allergic action, they can be useful in allergic rhinitis. Now coming to the doses of this montelukast and zapirlukast. Very characteristically, these are the drugs which are given by oral route in a patient of asthma. Okay, as just like the theophylline, which also can be given by oral route. Otherwise, we are preferring the drugs by inhalational route in asthma. What is the dose of montelukast? It is 10 milligram once daily in adult. Okay, while it is either 4 to 5 milligram in children. Okay, so children have almost half the dose, but the characteristic advantage of montelukast is only once daily dose, which increases the patient compliance. Patient will prefer एक ही बार लेना है दिन में. Zapirlukast dose is somewhat more, that is a 20 milligram BD. Okay, so zapirlukast is less potent because it is required in more dose, and 20 milligram BD दिन में 2 बार देना है in adult, while in children it is 10 milligram BD. Okay, that's why montelukast is preferred as compared to zapirlukast. And lastly, coming to the adverse effect of this drug. These drugs are considered very safe drug. They have a very less adverse effects except few cases of headache and rashes. Okay, that can be present with any drug in pharmacology. And there is one characteristic side effect which is observed this drug, that is commonly asked as a MCQ, and that is a Churg-Strauss syndrome. Okay, Churg-Strauss syndrome. What happens in this the patient has asthma, there is a eosinophilia or eosinophilic granulomatosis, and there is a vasculitis, inflammation of vessels of various organs like heart, peripheral nerve and kidney. So this is characteristic side effect Churg-Strauss syndrome, which can be observed with montelukast and zapirlukast. So that is all about leukotriene modulator. Just to revise, xylitol, which is a 5-lipoxygenase inhibitor, it is also as MCQ, is not preferred because of its hepatotoxic potential. So continuous monitoring of liver function is required and having a short duration of action. So it has to be given 4 times daily. That's why the montelukast and zapirlukast, which are the leukotriene receptor antagonists, they are preferred. They can antagonize the bronchoconstriction mediated by leukotriene and also can reverse the airway hypersecretion and mucosal edema. They are preferred in moderate to severe asthma patient when the patient is not responding to the high doses of inhalational corticosteroid and long-acting beta-2 agonist. But they are used as an add-on therapy and not as a monotherapy. Apart from that, these montelukast and zapirlukast, they can be given in prophylactically in exercise-induced asthma and aspirin-induced asthma, and nowadays they are very commonly given along with antihistaminics is a allergic rhinitis, levocetirizine and montelukast combination. So thank you guys for listening the lecture. Please subscribe to the channel.